I've been playing RuneScape for over 20 years now, and it has always been compared to the titan known as World of Warcraft. However, I never got the chance to play World of Warcraft during my childhood, and by the time I set foot in Azeroth, it was completely different from what I was expecting. Never having the chance to play Classic the way I wanted, it seemed like I was destined just to never play World of Warcraft. But then, I saw something that inspired me. I came across this video, and it changed my whole perspective. I watched someone who only played World of Warcraft go into the world of Gilenor for the first time, completely blind, no guides, no spoilers. I was quickly enthralled. I couldn't stop watching as he stumbled his way through the game. While others may make fun of him for playing the game wrong, he embraced the game for what it was and adapted. He began to conquer the goals he set for himself and inspired me to do the same. So, this is playing World of Warcraft wrong. Blind, no guides, and certainly no add-ons. Before we continue, I just wanted to thank you guys so much for all the love and support the series has gotten so far. In regards to the comments asking if they can give me help or answer some questions, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but I would prefer figuring out the answers for myself. In fact, I discovered the reason for my dodge and crit chance going down later in this video after some testing. I think it is rewarding and makes the journey more interesting when I don't have all the answers, or maybe even partial understanding. The growth of the player is just as important as the growth of the character, and I feel like these mysteries and challenges, be them lore or gameplay mechanics, are important to maintaining the integrity of this series. I apologize if I say something incorrect or misunderstand a gameplay mechanic, and I ask for your understanding in this matter. That said, comments correcting my pronunciation or giving me the correct term for an enemy, i.e. rare instead of silver dragon floating around his nameplate, is totally fine, and I appreciate the feedback. This episode is shorter than the others to see if people would like a more digestible version of the series. It also works out because I'm just about to explore Ironforge at the end of this, and acts as a nice transition to the next video. Please let me know what you prefer in the comments. I'll try to have the next video up as soon as possible. As always, thanks so much for watching, and now let's get back to the video. Welcome back to the Lion's Pride Inn, where we last left Bunglederb after a much-needed rest. First thing I do is try to figure out the mystery of the decreasing dodge and crit chance, noting down my current percentages and stats, as well as reading over them once more to find something I may have missed. I take note of the attack power stat, which seems to increase my DPS by 1 for every 14 power. Next, I notice my defense skill, and by its definition, it makes me less likely to be hit. This also reminds me of my weapon skills that make it more likely to hit. Perhaps these two skills also affect dodge and crit chance, so I note those levels as well before continuing my journey. I go through my spellbook to double check all my spells as well, noticing I haven't placed perception on my bar yet, and also, backstab does not require stealth. For some reason I thought it did. It is pretty energy expensive, but I decided to give it a try, especially since I have Sap and Gouge to stop the enemy's movement. Time will tell if it is better than Sinister Strikes, and I may as well test it out since I am using daggers right now. I take a look at my quests to refresh my memory, and make my way back to Westbrook Garrison to turn in the Rearpaw Gnoll bounty, and start my first elite quest, Hogger. I return to Deputy Raynor and grab a Militia buckler that I promptly vendor as a reward. I make my way south past the guard tower looking for Hogger, which I find after a little recon and stealth. This level 11 gnoll has a golden dragon mark around his nameplate, which I assume signifies him as an elite mob like the quest suggested. After taking out 2 gnolls around him, I use my scroll of armor before engaging Hogger, thinking I'll need every advantage I can when facing my first elite enemy. I also eat my stat boosting food, then begin the fight. I chuck a throwing knife and he charges me. I pop evasion right away and accidentally pop a health potion, but nevertheless get to work stacking up combo points and landing a 5-point eviscerate.
Not enough energy.
He hits hard, so I try to use backstab after a gouge to do some decent damage, but he responds with a headbutt, knocking me prone for a few seconds. I quickly utilize the gouge first aid combo to regain some much needed HP, while Hogger is out of commission. One more gouge ensures me the time to regen my energy and get the kill. It was a close fight, but if I had a health potion to use, or use the bag of marbles, I'm confident it would have been much easier. I grab the huge gnoll paw as proof of his demise and start heading back to Goldshire to turn in the bounty to Marshal Dugan. On my way, I take a look at the map, looking at the 2 new zones my quests want to take me, trying to decide where I should go, either Westfall or Loch Madon. Dugan is relieved that we have taken down the monster and rewards us with a nice chest upgrade. After taking a look at my quest log once more, I decided to go to Westfall first, since one of the quests there is green and the Loch Madon quest is still slightly red. I meet the Furlbrows on the road leading out of Westfall next to their broken wagon, just as the device report I got before said. I speak to Farmer Furlbrow, who is understandably upset. He explains that the living conditions in Westfall are terrible, and he even tried to convince Saldine to get out while he still could, but some of the farmers are stubborn and refuse to leave. I return Furlbrow his deed, and he thanks us, even though he doesn't see them coming back anytime soon, and he rewards us with some of his crops. Alas, it seems the deed is the least of his worries, as he explains that they were awoken in the middle of the night by a ruckus in their fields. Leaving in a rush and fearing for their lives, he forgot to pack his pocket watch, which he received from his father-in-law on the day of his wedding. He gives us directions to his field and lets us know to look for it in his wardrobe, but warns us to be careful of the hooligans and thieves that are running amok. I talk to his wife Verna next, who has 2 quests for me. Westfall Stew, which is a recipe she would like delivered to her good friend Salma Saldine, and poor old Blanchy, their beast of burden who could use a few handful of oats from the fields. She also warns us of horrific machines roaming the fields. Just what the hell is happening in this place? I start exploring the fields looking for some oats for poor old Blanchy and fight one of the horrific machines, a rusty harvest gold. After battling with it, I am diseased with tetanus, which is a 20-minute debuff and reduces my stamina by 2. Ouch. I continue fighting the golems, hoping to increase my defense. Then I discover a small house next to the fields, but find nothing interactable. I continue fighting my way north and find an abandoned campsite by the edge of a cliff. I also spy some murloc dwellings down by the beach. After fighting a boar tusk with only auto attacks, I gain a defense level and can finally see if defense affects dodge chance. And it does. So we are one step closer to figuring out the mystery of the declining dodge and crit chances. Next, let's see if upping our weapon skill will increase our crit rate. Instead of grinding another level in daggers, I decided to swap my main hand with a sword, which has a higher weapon level skill, and voila, weapon skill also determines crit chance. So, my current hypothesis is that agility sets the maximum potential crit and dodge chance, and to get to the maximum crit or dodge chance, we need to max out our weapon and defense skills. Since when we level up, the upper limit of our skills goes up by 5, and we usually get more points in agility, I'm thinking our max potential goes up, but our immediate dodge and crit chance goes down since it appears to use the skills ratio as a multiplier. So if maxed skills have a multiple of, let's say, 1, and max minus 5 is a multiplier of, let's say, 0.8, I'm just making up these numbers to illustrate my hypothesis. This means, on a theoretical level, we would potentially be going from 100% max dodge chance to 80% max dodge chance, thus resulting in this perceived drop in dodge. Crit chance should follow the same principle, but use weapon skill instead of defense. I'll wait till I level up again to see if my hypothesis proves to be true, and also look for more specific numbers on what agility and skill level ratios give to these stats. I find some handful of oats and continue south, killing any mobs my way, as well as skinning anything I can. On the way, I find signs pointing the way to Moonbrook, Sentinel Hill, and Old Coast Road. Continuing on my way towards Sentinel Hill, I find Saldine's farm. talking with Farmer Saldine, he believes that thieves are behind driving every farmer out of Westfall, but he won't be scared off that easily. Harvest Watchers have taken over the fields, and Saldine asks us to clear the fields of them. He also acts as a much-needed vendor for my filled bags. After vendoring, I read the Westfall stew recipe before going inside and delivering it to Salma, who is eager to make it. She seems to be quite a chef, as she also wants to make some Gortusk liver pie, and will even share the recipe with us if we help her get the final ingredients. She also lets us know what she needs to make the Westfall stew, which we already read in the recipe, and except gathering the necessary materials. I use the nearby fireplace to cook some stat-boosting food. We go upstairs and investigate the rest of the house and find Egwin and the Dragon Hunt, which is a book we already read. But it's cool to see that you can find these texts in multiple places, just like real books. So if somehow you missed it elsewhere, you can still get caught up with the lore. I go outside to begin culling the Harvest Watcher menace to find out that they are immune to gouge. Yikes. This makes them incredibly difficult to fight at my level, and they hit quite hard, requiring me to sprint away. Something else I discovered is that if you leash an enemy in this game, they become immune to attacks until they are back in their designated zone safely, and they even heal up as well. This is very different from OSRS, but I can understand the thought behind it. Allowing the player to kite and leash an enemy just for them to be vulnerable until they are back in their designated zone would make ranged classes completely overpowered, and it would also oversimplify combat when the main gameplay loop revolves around it. I continue killing boars, flesh rippers, and coyotes to get the quest materials and try to level up my defense. In the process, I finally break a piece of gear, and the game explains that I lose all benefits from the item until it is repaired. Even though it is at 0 durability, I am still able to repair it back to full. I feel like this is very forgiving, maybe even too forgiving, as there are repair spots literally all over the world, and you would have to kind of go out of your way to break your gear. But maybe this isn't always the case, or maybe Blizzard wanted this game to be more casual. I was fully expecting the gear to be destroyed and removed from my inventory, but all I have to do is find a repair guy, and I'm fine. As I'm about to level up, I make note of all the values I can before I kill another Gortusk and ding to level 13, gaining 2 more agility. And boom, we see our dodge chance go from 19.03% to 17.68%. My defense ratio was 59 out of 60, or 98.3%, while now it's 59 out of 65, which is 90.7%. If current dodge equals max dodge times the defense ratio, going by my theoretical equation, 19.3% was our maximum dodge before the +2 agility. Then, this means our new potential max dodge would be 19.5%. If we were to max defense, that is. This also implies that each point of agility gives an approximately 1% dodge chance, but this doesn't take into account diminishing returns or stat caps. This is still just theory and clearly needs to be tested, but I feel like we are making progress in deciphering this mystery. Understanding this mechanic more, at least on a basic level, I might not have the exact numbers, but I feel like I understand what the devs intended, and actually, I find it quite ingenious. Again, this is just speculation, but if I was a dev and wanted to make sense of this, I would equate leveling up to building more muscle mass. And just like in real life, if you lift weights every day for a year, then stop, you will see a decrease in your strength. In the same vein, if you overdo it, you could potentially injure yourself. I think in much the same way, our characters are building their new muscles, or skills in this case, in order to use them more efficiently and eventually improve their strength overall. But if I level up and never use a dagger again, I won't be able to use them as effectively as I could with my new strength. I obviously might be reaching here, but regardless, I find the concept of your character getting slightly debuffed on level up to encourage you to level your skills again very cool, and an engaging part of the gameplay loop. I finally discover Sentinel Hill and repair my gear and vendor the junk in my bag. I also buy some coarse thread to make some hand-stitched leather boots to level my leatherworking and make some good money. From my experience so far with the professions, it seems like green has a slight chance to skill up, yellow has like an average chance, 50-50, and orange guarantees a skill up. I find the Flight Master Thor and connect the past to the other Flight Masters I've met back in Stormwind and Ironforge, whom I met off screen. I look around the area and discover Scout Gilenor, who also has a fetish for red bandanas and will reward us with the People's Cloak if we take down some members of the Defias. I find Innkeeper Heather, set my hearth to Westfall, then begin to look around the place for anything interactable, and find the last Guardian. Aegwynn, a powerful guardian of Tirisfal, extended her life using Tirisfal energies and protected the world from demonic threats for nearly 900 years. Believing she had defeated the Demon King Sargeras, when the Council of Tirisfal decided to replace her, Aegwynn, distrustful of their motives, chose to pass her powers to her son, Medivh, fathered by Nihilus Eran, a skilled human magician. Unbeknownst to her, Sargeras' spirit had possessed Medivh while he was still in the womb. Aegwynn left Medivh to be raised in Azeroth and passed into the afterlife. Medivh grew up unaware of his powers, befriending Prince Thlein and Anduin Lothar. At 14, his cosmic powers clashed with Sargeras' spirit, causing a years-long coma. Upon awakening as an adult, Medivh's powers were twisted by Sargeras, who planned to use him for a second invasion of the world. You know I love lore, and this answers a lot of questions in regards to Medivh being the last Guardian, as well as his relationship with Aegwynn and the Council of Tirisfal. The arrogance and distrust Aegwynn had, cultivated over the years as a Guardian, seems to have been the Council's undoing. Aegwynn, seeking to create the perfect Guardian, seduced a High Wizard in Azeroth and passed her powers onto her son before abandoning him in seeking the afterlife, thinking the Burning Legion no more after she defeated Sargeras. This poses a question. Did Sargeras corrupt Aegwynn, stimulating her arrogance and distrust, or did he know of those from when he faced her in battle, and planned for this to happen? If another Guardian was chosen as a successor, would they have also been cursed by Sargeras? As it reads, his spirit possessed the child while he was still in the womb, which suggests it was a hereditary possession. Medivh's story is just tragic. A boy that never knew his mother and is completely clueless about his powers. He finds fast friends at a young age, but falls into a coma at the early age of 14, only to awaken and see the world changed completely, and a new insidious force slowly vying for control of his mind. All he wants to do is protect his friends and home, but even that small part of his will slowly begins to fade. What was the Council doing during this time? Did they see Aegwynn as a failure and the Guardians as a potential threat? Are they even still around? I find a stove in the corner and cook up some roasted boar meat I've gathered to level my cooking. I found the cemetery and put my talent point into increasing my dodge chance, as I don't think the energy reduction from Sinister Strike will have too much of an effect. At best, I would be able to get off one more Sinister Strike before my energy is depleted. I meet with Gryan Stoutmantle, who explains that the Stormwind Monarchy has abandoned their cause, and it is now up to the People's Militia to free the land of corruption. If I seek to join their ranks, I need to prove myself by killing 15 Defias smugglers and trappers. Also, all hail Tico, defender of the people!
Go with honor, friend.
Next, I speak with Captain Danavan, right next to Stoutmantle, and he asks us to patrol the grasslands of Westfall, tracking down and slaying any gnolls I come across, as they seem to be working together with the Deadmine thieves. He wants 8 gnoll paws as proof of my deeds. So many thieves. Are the Deadmine's thieves the same as the Defias Brotherhood, or are they a separate force? Danavan also speculates that the gnolls are working together with the thieves, which may explain how they were able to cross into Elwyn undetected. We learn from Gerard's Landing and the Docking Manifesto that the Defias have control over the river, and has contraband coming in from Westfall and Redridge. What if this contraband also includes monsters? This is actually a rather terrifying prospect, as if the Defias truly managed to coordinate with the gnolls, what does it stop them from cooperating with other semi-intelligent races? Could they be working with the kobolds and murlocs as well? And if so, to what end? Are they the nefarious force that has been pushing the wildlife near East Vale Logging Camp to become more aggressive, like Guard Thomas suggested? We also have Saldean suggesting the thieves are using the Harvest Watchers to drive the farmers away from the land. This is all just speculation from a few lines of quest dialogue, and I know I'm probably reaching, but seeing as even the Crown of Stormwind has abandoned Westfall, it all makes me wonder what exactly the Defias are after. Do they have a vendetta against other humans? It can't just be opportunity and business. The amount of coordinated attacks suggests a strong campaign against the human lands. Are they in league with the Horde? Guess we will find out, but the idea of humans working together with monsters is certainly dangerous. We will find out if Danovin's speculation or my own hold any truth later. We enter Sentinel Tower and find another book on the table labeled The Scourge of Lordran. Kel'Thuzad and his cult of the damned unleashed a plague of undeath on Lordaeron, which Uther and his paladins tried but failed to stop as it spread, threatening the Alliance. Prince Arthas fought the Scourge, killing Kel'Thuzad, but the undead grew stronger with each fallen soldier. Frustrated, Arthas took extreme measures, losing his humanity. In Northrend, seeking to end the plague, he claimed the cursed blade Frostmourne, which granted him power but stole his soul. Turning him into a Death Knight, Arthas then led the Scourge against Lordaeron, killed his father, King Tyrannus, and destroyed the kingdom. Wow, okay. We discover Prince Arthas is King Tyrannus' only son, and how the war in the Plague Lands changed him. Even after killing Kel'Thuzad, he kept seeing the enemy grow stronger with every soldier he lost. Arthas, desperate for power, fell for the allure of Frostmourne, and it seems the dark soul Kel'Thuzad was waiting for finally came, and Lordaeron's savior turned into their destroyer, with Arthas becoming a Death Knight. We don't get too much information about how and why Arthas lost his way, but nevertheless, it can still be seen as a tragic end to a hero's tale. Thematically, Arthas is similar to Medivh, and perhaps even his foil, as in this case it seems Arthas had a choice, whereas Medivh was given no choice and was cursed unknowingly by his mother. How much of a choice did Arthas truly have in this? Just what atrocities led him to lose his humanity and forsake all that he once loved? It's also very similar to see that Kel'Thuzad corrupts Arthas just as Sargeras corrupts Medivh.
Have a good one.
Nearby, Quartermaster Lewis asks us to deliver a message to Osric Stang and Stormwind, hoping he and his shop, Limited Immunity, can supply the People's Militia with armor. He suggests I take the Griffin by Thor and sends us on our way. We go back to talk to Thor, who gives us another quest, which acts as a tutorial for learning how to use flight paths. We then get to ride atop the Griffin, and thank God it isn't an instant teleport. We get to see the zones we previously explored from a different perspective, and it's awesome. I think I even spy a house atop the Mirror Lake waterfall. I'll have to check it out at some point. I missed recording speaking with Osric, but basically it turns out that he is friends with Quartermaster Lewis and gives us a crate to deliver to him, once again asking us to take the Griffin. I return to the Griffin Master, who tells me he has plenty of Griffins that know the route. But for some reason, I need to have been to Westfall first in order for them to take me. Again, I know it's nitpicky, but please, just give me a reason why I need to go to Westfall first. The next quest dialogue tries to explain this, but it doesn't. It more so just explains the game mechanics for it, which, like I said before, makes sense as a game, but I just need a reason why the Griffins who are already trained to go to these remote areas cannot take me there until I have already discovered them. There are many ways that this could have been done. Military rank, papers giving you access to these, overpricing the flight paths until you find them. But I digress. After our ride back, we deliver the crate to Lewis, and the Griffin tutorial ends with me getting about 4 silver richer. We start making our way back to the entrance of Westfall so we can finish the Westfall Stew quest and free up some inventory space in our bags. Side note, never let boars have a running start. I learned they have a pretty powerful charge attack that almost did me in. I start using my stat boosting food and get to work. I eventually get all the materials I need, minus the Murloc eyes, so I head back to that beach I found at the start. While killing them, I play around with the Gouge Backstab combo, but I'm not sure if it's actually better than just getting off 2 Sinister Strikes, since the Backstab costs so much. A fellow player gives me some heals, so I thank him, and Karma decides to have the Murloc drop a quest initiation item, Captain Sanders' treasure map, which lets me know that I can have his treasure if I'm able to follow his clues. The first one being to find a footlocker by a shipwreck near a rusty anchor on the coast. Definitely sounds like fun, but I still need to get one more Murloc eye to free up 4 inventory slots, so I'll leave the quest for the One Piece later. I finally get my final Murloc eye and head back towards Saldine's farm. When I return, I find 2 sacks of oats just waiting to be retrieved. After returning to Salma with the ingredients, we complete the quest. Hungry for some liver pie, we go outside and continue killing every boar tusk in sight, this time careful of their charge attack. While killing the gore tusks, I also find the last 2 handfuls of oats I need on Furlbrow's farm. Remembering that we also need to grab Farmer Furlbrow's pocket watch, we sneak inside his house where Benny Blanco is, receiving our first bandana and retrieving the pocket watch from the wardrobe. Seeing Mordefias by the barn, I decide to take a quick detour and kill them as well. And back to the gore tusks. Further to the north, I find the Riverpaw gnolls that Captain Denovan told us about. Naturally, I get sidetracked and start killing them instead. While killing the gnolls in the area, I ding to level 14. And at this point, I completely forgot about checking my skills and doing the math to see if my equation was even remotely correct. Oh well, we'll do it later. I add another point into dodge and continue killing gnolls for their paws. After rotating between gnolls and boars, I finally nab my 8th paw. I return to the Furlbrows to complete the quests. First, I give the pocket watch back to Farmer Furlbrow, who rewards me with food and drink. Then, I give Verna the handfuls of oats for blanching. Going back to Saldine's farm, I vendor my excess items, then cook all the boar meat I have acquired from the liver grind to get cooking to level 58. Finally able to learn how to cook the mud snapper, I also cook those, reaching level 70 cooking with ease. Journeying back south, I return to Sentinel Hill to turn in my gnoll paws to Captain Denovan. Next to him, Brian Stoutmandel also seems to have another quest for me. He needs info on the Defies, and an old acquaintance of his, Wiley, has the information. I must journey to Lakeshire within the Red Ridge Mountains east of Elwyn and find out what I can. I go back to the trade vendor and use up all the leather I can to get more levels in leatherworking, reaching level 60. After reorganizing my bags, I take a griffin to Stormwind so I can get my new rogue abilities and maybe learn some new trade skill recipes. I stop by the leatherworking trainer and see I need a level 70 to learn all the recipes of this level, and buy the ones I can. I then go to the entrance of SI7 and train under Osborne the Nightman to learn Expose Armor, Garrote, and Rank 3 Sinister Strike. Expose Armor looks like it'll be useful against heavily armored foes, or maybe in group dungeons. Garrote is the new and improved Backstab, which does not need a dagger, but does require stealth, and applies a damage over time effect. Seeing as my skill in cooking has increased, I stop by Kendor once more to pick up some more recipes. I jump off the balcony to go see the cooking trainer and learn how to make boiled clams and coyote steak. Running out of money to buy journeyman cooking, I reluctantly sell some flasks of oil and pay 5 silver to upgrade my cooking. Seeing as now I am dirt poor, I think it's about time I finally deliver Stormpike's weapon. And I make my way to the Deep Run tram. After boarding and getting to the Ironforge side, we see that this time Monty seems to have a quest for us, as he instructs us to capture rats using a flute and bring them back to him. We get right to work, charming the rats with the flute, and stumble upon... My god, what is this? It looks like this level 60 warrior True Guard has been long at work stopping the Skaven invasion of Ironforge. I get my final rat and leave True Guard to his duty. I return to Monty to be informed that his brother needs the rats alive and kicking to make the kebab. Finally understanding just what all those shaking boxes are behind Monty, I feel a little sick. But he promises me 5 silver if I deliver the crate to his brother on the other side of the tram.
Can I help you?
Who cares about feelings? I'm broke, so I accept the job and take the tram back to Stormwind's side, getting a good look at True Guard shooting the Skaven menace with his trusty gun. Giving the crate to Nipsey, he hands us 5 silver and 10 deep-run rat kebabs. He also mentions the Nobergan incident and how it changed his brother. What exactly happened? Where is Nobergan? And how did it affect the gnome's mind to think he's been a pirate all his life? More things to ponder as I take the tram back towards Ironforge. Once there, we exit to Ironforge, ready to explore the dwarf city, the icy mountains of Dunmoreau, and eventually find our way to Loch Madon. But that's a story for another time. As we continue, playing World of Warcraft wrong. Hey guys, no add-ons here. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who watched this video. And if you would like more content like this, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. It really helps. I'm relatively new to making videos like this, so if you have any feedback that could help me improve, please leave your suggestions in the comments. I'm really excited seeing all the support the past couple of videos have garnered, and I can't wait to continue Bungle Derp's journey through Azeroth. Once again, thanks so much for watching.